Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Gopijana Vallabha Girivananda Sodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Jamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari
Jaya Radha
Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vardhana Ranjana Jamuna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, text number 9, right?
Yes, that's right.
Rajjakamo Nandevan
Vajjikamu Madhudevam
Niritim Charan Yajat
Nirtim Tisvatharucharam
Kama Kamo Yajat Soman
Amadhavo Yajasam
Akama Purusam Param
Akama Purusham Saram
Rajjakamo Manundevan
Vajjikamu Madhudevam
Niritim Charan Yajat
Nirtim Pavusaram Vajat
Kama kamo yajit somam.
Kama kamo yajasoma.
Kama purusam param.
Kama purusham.
Raja kamo manundevan.
Raja kamo manudevam.
Niratin chavicharam yajit.
Nirtin pavachara yajit.
Kama kamo yajit somam.
Kama kamo yajasoma.
Kama purusam param.
Kama purusham. Raja kamo manundevan.
Raja kamo manundevan.
Nirtin pavicharam yajit.
Nirtin chavicharam yajit.
Kamo kamo. Kama kamo yajat somam.
Kama kamo yajit somam.
Akama purusham param.
Kama purusam.
param.
Raja kamo manudevan.
Raja kamo manudevan.
Nityajeva acharam yachat.
Nirtin chavicharam
yajit.
Kama kamo yachat somam.
Kama kamo yajit somam.
Akama purusham param.
Kama
purusham param.
Raja kama.
Raja kamo.
Anyone desiring an empire or kingdom. Manun, the Manus, semi-incarnations of God.
Incarnations of God.
Devan,
Devan.
demigods.
Demigods.
Nirtim,
Nirtin.
demons, too. But, Abicharan,
Avicharan.
desiring victory over the enemy.
Desiring victory over the enemy.
Yajat,
Yajat.
should worship.
Should worship.
Kama kama,
Kama kama.
one who desires sense gratification.
One who desires sense gratification.
Yajat,
Yajat.
should worship.
Should worship.
Somam,
Somam.
the demigod named Chandra.
Demigod named Chandra.
Kama,
Kama.
one who has no material desires to be fulfilled.
One who has no material desires to be fulfilled.
Purusham,
Purusham.
the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The Supreme Personality of God.
Param,
Param.
the Supreme.
The Supreme.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
God.
One who desires domination over a kingdom or an empire should worship the Manus. One who desires victory over an enemy should worship the demons. And one who desires sense gratification should worship the moon. But one who desires nothing of material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Personality of God. Perfect. For a liberated person, all the enjoyments listed above are considered to be absolutely useless. Now, one might wonder, well, why did Sukadeva Goswami even mention that then? It's useless. Why would he even mention it? If you want sense gratification, then you worship the moon. You get sense gratification. You know, let's see what Prabhupada says here. Only those who are conditioned by the material modes of external energy are captivated by different types of material enjoyment. In other words, the transcendentalist has no material desires to be fulfilled, whereas the materialist has all types of desires to be fulfilled. The Lord has proclaimed that the materialists who desire material enjoyment and thus seek the favor of different demigods, as above mentioned, are not in control of their senses, and so give themselves to nonsense. One should therefore not desire any sort of material enjoyment, being sensible enough to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The leaders of nonsensical persons are still more sensible because they preach openly and foolishly that one can worship any form of demigod and get the same result. This sort of preaching is not only against the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, or those of the Srimad Bhagavatam, but is also foolish, just as it is foolish to claim that with the purchase of any travel ticket, one may reach the same destination. No one can reach Bombay from Delhi by purchasing a ticket for Baroda. It is clearly defined herein that persons impregnated with different desires have different modes of worship. But one who has no desire for material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. And this worshiping process is called devotional service. Pure devotional service means service to the Lord without any tinge of material desire, including desire for fruitive activity and empiric speculation. For fulfillment of material desires, one may worship the Supreme Lord, but the result of such worship is different, as will be explained in the next verse. Generally, the Lord does not fulfill anyone's material desires for sense enjoyment, but he awards such benedictions to worshippers of the Lord, for they ultimately come to the point of not desiring material enjoyment. The conclusion is that one must minimize the desires for material enjoyment, and for this, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is described here as Param, or beyond anything material. Sripad Sankaracharya has also stated, Narayana Paro Vyakta, Supreme Lord is beyond the material and circumstance. Om Gyana Dhyana Gyana Dhyana Salakya Section Vijaya Vijaya Mukam Kotava Chala Pamamam Vayate Yat Kripata Daham Vande Sigurum Dinataranam Vanchikapatu Vischa Kripasinu Jayavacha Paditanam Pavane Vaishnavi Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Gaura Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram. Getting a little warm in here. Wait, that's me. So yeah, Sukadeva Goswami, he's speaking to Prakrit Maharaj about the absolute truth. Actually, it's described that the entire Bhagavatam is about the answer to two questions. What is the ultimate duty of everyone in all circumstances? And what is the duty of one who is about to die? These are the two questions that actually the entire, I was just reading Prabhupada said this, these are the two questions the entire Bhagavatam is about. What is the duty of everyone in all circumstances? So there's a lot of circumstances that we come across. Prabhupada says in one purport that a devotee, he becomes the servant of circumstances. Whatever circumstance a devotee finds himself in, he tries to serve Krishna in that circumstance, whatever it may be. Interesting. So, yeah, this is the duty of the living entity is to try to please Krishna in whatever circumstance we find ourselves in. Sometimes we find ourselves in unusual circumstances, just like in the early days of our ISKCON society, devotees would go on Harinam, and many places they would get arrested because, I mean, not in America, because we have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, but in other countries, England, Australia, a lot of places, And there's an instance where the devotees were arrested in Sydney, and the devotee wrote Prabhupada, said, Prabhupada, we've been arrested, we're in jail, should we call a lawyer? And Prabhupada replied, no, just chant Hare Krishna. So they took that to heart, and they had the whole devotional program in jail. Mangalarti, 4:30, devotee blew the conch shell, somebody offering the incense, there's no incense. And then they're offering the flame boiler. And then they're offering the water and the flour, and then some of the deities are there. They're chanting the deities. So they really took it to heart. And then they had Tulsi Puja, and there was other prisoners in there also, and they were thinking, well, these Hare Krishnas are pretty far off people. So they served Krishna in that circumstance. Prabhupada said Mangalarti, you got to go to Mangalarti again. So they had the Mangalarti right there. And then after a few days, the other prisoners, they were calling out to the guards, "Hey, come on, these guys are saints, get them out of here." Then they let them out after a few days, and it worked. And then they were allowed to do Harinam. So yeah, in any circumstance that sometimes there's happiness, sometimes there's distress. Prabhupada said that in the Krishna book, that one's greatness must be estimated by how tolerant one is in difficult situations. Sometimes we find ourselves in difficult situations, like book distribution. Book distribution can be sweet as pie, and it can be very difficult. But we have to try to please Krishna in any circumstance. And it's like one of the most difficult things. You're trying hard, no one's taking the book, and then finally there's someone that's wake up, he's gonna take it, he's unsure, he's undecided. Nah, that's right. So you gotta be tolerant. Yeah. So that's the book distribution is where we learn the qualities of a Vaishnava. Dikshiva, Karunika, yet we have to learn tolerance. And if we're tolerant, then we can be compassionate. If we're not tolerant, then how can we be compassionate? Tolerance is so important. Therefore, it's stated that this verse, Tanadapi Sinichena Tarorapi Sesnamare Kirtaniya Siddhari, that Krishnadas Kaviraj says that this verse should be worn around one's neck, strung by the holy name. It's so important to be tolerant. I was talking to the Russian devotees again a few days ago, and there's one lady. She's married to a non-devotee. So I gave the example of Prabhupada's sister, whose husband became a drunkard, very degraded. He's tolerated, and eventually he saw her good qualities and he straightened out, became a devotee. So tolerance. And in Los Angeles, I remember one of the householders said, that in household life, a lot of it is tolerance. You got to tolerate a lot. In the beginning, it's so nice. It's a honeymoon. That's all. Everything's so nice. But then you get, then after a while, you notice that thing and then notice something else, and then you got to be tolerant. So tolerance is a big part. In book distribution, yeah, we have to be tolerant. You have to tolerate the happiness and the distress. Sometimes you're on a book just using someone and gives a big donation, and you get a little too excited, like, oh, well, I remember one devotee, he got $100 donation, and he said, well, so much for the day, and then he went back to the temple. Did my quota. But, and sometimes you become so jubilant, you get a big donation, then we forget what we're doing out there. You know? We forget that we're out there. We're supposed to be out here with with compassion, helping everybody, and then we kind of it goes to our head, So no, we have to be tolerant in distressful situations and happy. You get a big donation, they just go on. Just don't got to keep on giving out for mercy, compassion. Daya sarvabhute susantasya yenikena savendriya prasanchya tustu. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam. It said that Krishna is very pleased when devotees approach others with compassion, daya santasya, and they're satisfied in Krishna consciousness. Satisfied in Krishna consciousness. Because we're in Maya's kingdom. I was just listening to a lecture of Prabhu. In fact, Prabhupada said that Maya's always there, right beside you. You turn away from Krishna, Maya's right there. Oh, I have something for you. As soon as we turn away from Krishna, Maya's right there. So it was like Krishna says, Maya haya yaham Krishna tahina Maya. Krishna is compared to light. He's compared to the sun. Maya is compared to dark. Wherever there is the light of Krishna consciousness, there is no darkness within. And when we turn away from that light of Krishna consciousness, then the darkness is there. So we should pray, Krishna help me to be satisfied with Krishna consciousness. A lot of people give up Krishna consciousness and some whatever reason they're not satisfied. And one of the reasons is offenses, maintaining material desires. This is one of the main offenses. We maintain material desires, even after understanding so many instructions. And the other big one is inattentive chanting. These are the two big ones that we have to look out for. So Daya Santasya Sarvendriya, and he who is able to control the senses. Krishna is pleased that he can control our senses. The senses are pulling in different directions, and it's difficult. It's difficult to control them. Kala Kalir Balina Indriya Vairi Raga Sri Bhakti Marga Kanta Ruda. In the age of Kali, the senses are very powerful, very difficult to control. And the path of bhakti is spiked by millions of thorny obstacles. Therefore, my dear Lord Chaitanya, if you're not merciful to me, what will I do? Where will I go? Prabhu Saraswati. Spiked by millions of thorny obstacles. But what does Krishna say? Mastita Sarvadurgani Mat Prasada Taja. Don't worry about an associate. He says, if you just be conscious of me, you'll cross over all the obstacles on your path. If, however, you act on a false ego and you don't hear me, then you'll be lost. Nobody likes to be lost. But if we're not taking this process seriously, then we can become lost again, as we were lost before. Actually, we were lost. We didn't know what to do, didn't know what not to do, just completely. But then got this direction. Srimad Bhagavatam, it said, It's an instruction guide for the human form of life. The Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad, if we just follow these instructions that are given to us, then our success is for sure. So here, in this verse, it says that if one wants sense gratification, then one worships the moon. I bet you some people read this. Well, okay, all right, now I know what to do. Right. But sense gratification, it's bad. It gets old. It gets old. There's problems with sense gratification. There's a lot of frustration with sense gratification. Let's say one wants something and he doesn't get it. Frustrated. He wants something, he gets it, but it's not exactly what he expected. Frustrated. He gets something, or he wants something and he gets it, and then he has it for some time, but then it fades. Gets old. Material things get old after a while. And then the last one, you want something, he gets it. It's lasting, going for some time. It's all right, but then something unexpected, right? Frustrated again. So material life is there's a lot about frustration. But if one surrenders to Krishna, there's no frustration. No frustration. One is getting the reciprocation of Krishna. One experiences the joy of Krishna consciousness if we surrender. And therefore it's stated, Bhakti Purusana Bhava Virakta Anyata Chaisa Tukikela Tukekipata. Papadyamana Tusti Pusti Sudhigaya Gash. By rendering devotional service to Krishna, three things automatically happen. We attain love for Krishna, we get realization of Krishna, and eventually become detached. Become detached from material, not interested in material life at all. Just like Yamunacharya. Yadavadhi mamacheti Krishna padaravande, never ratadana. He was a king. And kings, he wasn't a Rajarsi like Bricket Maharaj or Yudhisthira. He was a sense gratified king. But he got inspired by devotees. And he was so inspired that he gave up. He gave up his kingdom. And he became a great saint. And he chanted this verse, this very famous verse. He says, since I've been engaged in the loving service of Krishna, experiencing ever fresh pleasure at every moment, whenever I think of sense gratification, specifically it's just sex and my lips curl in this taste and I spit it this off. Spit it like that. Now some fanatical brahmacharis and sannyasis there in the early days of the women who walk spit it. Very offensive, right? Very offensive. Of course, they all got married. Very offensive. No, you spit at the thought. He spits at the thought, not at the legs. At the thought, we spit at our own mind. So, we attain love for Krishna. You get realization of Krishna. So this comes by hearing attentively, hearing japa attentively, reading Prabhupada books attentively. Then we get realization. He reciprocates. He sees the sincerity of the devotee, and he reciprocates. He wants to give himself. And then one experiences the joy, or actually one becomes detached. You get bhakti and you get realization, then not interested at all in the things of this world. All the varieties of Maya that she presents, not interested. Like Haridas Thakur, he was the best example of this. Such a great devotee, Haridas Thakur. He was there was one Ramachandra Khan. He was very envious because he was getting so much praise and so much honor, and he thought, let me show people where he's actually at. So he got a prostitute, and she went to his, where he was residing in a cave, and she presented herself, very beautiful, speaking very sweet. Oh, Haridas, you're such a young and handsome man. Please, I want to enjoy with you. He said, no problem. I just gotta finish. If you're around here. Okay, so she sits down, she's waiting. Then the sun rises and she's still waiting. And she gets up and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I got these vows." And then she came again that night, again to entice him. Said, yeah, no, just wait, I'm just gonna chant. I think 3 notes. I think 3 notes. Yeah. Then she admitted to him, actually I came here to make you to fall down. And Haridas, I know, but I just wanted you to give you some mercy. She became a devotee. Also chanted 192 rounds. Yes. You can see I chanted 108 rounds one night. Took all day long. In myself. Go for me. But that's nothing. 192. I don't know. I think it'd take me more than 24 hours. And then later, Maya Devi herself also tested it. Maya Devi herself. We can't imagine how beautiful she was. Don't imagine how beautiful. Very attractive. And she was also doing poses. But Haridas Thakur was just like completely focused on the holy name. Namacharya. And Ramananda Roy, another, like, he used to do dramas, and he would have these attractive ladies in the drama, and he would touch their private parts. And it would be like touching wood. Because he just saw it doesn't matter. Just the body's it's just not. What is it? Skin, blood, some obnoxious elements in the body. I remember I was distributing books one time at a university, and at that particular university there was a medical school, so they were doing operations, and you could smell them. Yeah, the body is. I mean, you open it up, it stinks, and they're operating on it, and they come out of the operate, and they still stink. Like, wow, because what's in the body? There's stool, right? There's urine. There's all kinds of noxious things in the body, and they're there for I don't know, maybe an hour or two, and it gets on so much so that I can smell it. It's like these bodies are not nice. So Ramananda Roy just doesn't matter. And Lord Chaitanya, he was so dear to Lord. There's 3.5 personalities that were very dear to Lord Chaitanya. Ramananda Roy, Swarup Damodar, Sikimahiti, and Madhavi, the sister of Sikimahiti. Now you don't hear much about Sikimahiti in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. or Madhava. But these are the 3.5 most dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So yeah, Ramananda Roy, completely self-realized. Wouldn't it be nice to be completely self-realized? That's completely aware. I'm not this body at all. It's just, as Prabhu would say, it's dead. There's a verse that's Srimad, Nehaya Karma Dharmaya Naviragaya Kavya. Nitirtha Pada Sevaya Jivanamim Tohista. That if one's dharma, Nehaya Karma Dharma, if one's work does not bring one to dharma, if one's dharma does not bring one to renunciation, if one's renunciation does not bring one to devotional service, then one is considered to be dead. I'll read. You know what that means? That means that the whole planet, it's a planet of the living dead. They appear to be alive, yeah, because there's no devotion. We were also dead. Now we're kind of coming alive now a little bit here. You know? We're coming alive in devotional service. But this is what we're doing. On book distribution, we're trying to bring the dead alive again. And that's by this book distribution. And some people out there, they're very ripe. Like Vaisheshika Maharaj gives the example of the ripe mango. I remember when I was working at the student books at a university in Los Angeles, and the student came up, and he was just so excited. He saw the books, like, wow, this is what I'm into. He was just like a super ripe mango man. And he got all the books, and I gave him the address of the temple. He went to the temple, joined the ashram, just like he was just sort of ripe mango. So there's ripe mangoes out there, but we gotta go out. We gotta find them. Otherwise, there's other things that they'll get involved in. There's other spiritual movements that people get involved in. There's other things that there's a lot of Maya out there. They can get also distracted very easily. So we got to go out there, and with the mood of compassion that they're suffering. And as Devi Shakti Mataji says, if we're sincerely trying to give Krishna consciousness to others, to the suffering souls, then Krishna will send people that are sincerely searching for Krishna. But we have to have that desire to help the conditioned soul. There's so much suffering. I mean, we're like in a little oasis. You know, we don't read the news. We don't even know what's going on out there. But there's a lot of suffering going on. Drug abuse and alcohol abuse and suicide, just all kinds of divorces, and people get fired, and just all that. There was one company I heard that was it 60,000 or 6,000 employees fired? What was it, 60?
I think Google, right? 60,000, I could be wrong.
60,000 fired. One day you got a job, next day you don't. And then you got all these people looking for jobs. A lot of competition. So there's a lot of suffering. And this knowledge that we have, this is the medicine. This is the medicine for curing the disease of material life. They don't know. They're thinking that they're good. Very common thing. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm all right. Little do they know, just like it's common actually. People think they're healthy, but then they get a checkup and they find out they're fourth level of cancer. They thought they were just fine, and then they find out they got cancer. So people don't know, but they have this cancer. It's called material existence. Material life, it's a cancer, it's a disease. And this knowledge cures the disease, this Hare Krishna mantra. It cures the disease. What is it? I think in Chaitanya Church. That if one wants to counteract all the sins of the age of Kali and become free of all the contamination of this age, there is no alternative than to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the power. The name of Krishna and Krishna are non-different. So the name of Krishna is very powerful. So we have to get the name out to the people. That's why I like book distribution so much, because we're giving the name. We're distributing the name. The Hare Krishna. I actually learned how to chant Hare Krishna from reading Bhagavad Gita. I didn't know. Never heard it anyway. I heard it on the My Sweet Lord, but I didn't even know the Hare Krishna was in there because I never heard Hare Krishna. I thought it was just My Sweet Lord. Hallelujah. Yeah, I know the Hare Krishna. But when I read the Bhagavad Gita, oh, this is a very powerful mantra. So therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur call it the Brihat Mridanga, the great Mridanga. So people, it happened so many times, because I travel a lot, I would meet people in other countries. They got books from me in Los Angeles or Miami. Thank you so much. You distributed a book to me in Miami or Los Angeles. Now, I met one guy who was in Sweden. He'd been a book distributor for years. So that's what we call it, the Brihamadanga. The name is being distributed all over the planet. There's so much traveling going on around the world, and people are getting books in their travels, and they're becoming devotees. I was in Australia and so when Mataji came to me at Melbourne, she had the Bhagavad Gita, and my signature was in the book because she got it at one of these bookstores. A lot of devotees become devotees because they get books at these used bookstores. You get a Bhagavad Gita for $2. Because people now I'm not interested in this, and they take it to the used bookstore and they get a couple of bucks for it. And the devotees go there. So it's amazing how many devotees have joined because of getting books at these used bookstores. So she said, "Thank you so much. I got this Bhagavad Gita bookstore. It changed my life." So yeah, we just have to get the books out there. Prabhupada one time said, "You said it's too late. Nothing can stop this movement because the books are there. Even if everybody bloops," kind of scary idea. Imagine everybody bloops, still they'll start up again. And there's an example of that in Russia. There was a person who liked the book, Science of Self-Realization, very much, so he gave it to a friend who was also into spiritual life. And his friend read it, and somehow he read that this knowledge is so important that it should be given to everyone, everywhere. Yeah. And he thought, well, this is so nice. I should do that. So he went to he was a businessman. He had money, so he went to the printer and he had a couple hundred printed out. And he was distributing books. He was distributing books in that town. So a traveling party came into that town, and they were distributing books, and then that one person said, "No, I got one just a few days ago." And they said, "Oh, there must be some traveling Sankirtan party here." So then they go around and distribute, and they see another one. "Oh no, I got one." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And then they finally found this person. They said, "Haribol." And the person said, "Haribol? What's that? You don't know Haribol? What temple are you from?" He said, "Temple." Temples, there's temples. He's distributing books. He didn't know about Haribo, didn't know about temples. He's like, who are you people? We're devotees. We're following these teachings. This book you're distributing, this is what we're following. We're distributing books like you do. And he said, really? They said, yeah. And we're coming from a temple, not far away. And he said, really? So he was so excited that he found out where the temple was, and he went to the temple. But here's an example. Yeah, he wasn't following any of the principles, but he got a book. He understood the importance and was distributing. So yeah, nothing can stop. It's too late. Prabhupada said if they knew what I was going to do when I came here, they would have killed me. Because Prabhupada caused so many people to stop eating meat. All types of intoxication. All kinds of, beer, yeah, alcohol, all kinds of things. Huh? Coffee, yeah, all these things. So many things now in the supermarket we used to eat. We just go to the vegetables and fruits. That's it, practically. There's so much garbage we used to eat in there. That's it. Now we don't even look. Not interesting. So we're very fortunate. And we should pray to Krishna that we could make others fortunate as well. So any question or comment? Correction. Or donation. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai. This Vijay Prabhu ki Jai. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
I've never done that before.
Thank you. Here, someone know how to turn this off?
Yes, I got it.
Thank you, dear devotees, for joining. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day.